Hi.
Good evening, Eric.
Good evening, Nancy.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you? It's been a few weeks.
I'm okay. I
I'm a
have
little
a
less
little.
hair since
I
we.
love it. I think it's so smart. Why not? Because if they're going to close the barber shops again.
Nancy.
How are you? Oh, wait a minute. Ah,
I'm well. How are you? I've got to do the same thing. I've got to
yeah, I
turn.
thought mine. I'm okay.
All
There
right.
it is.
Well, while you do that, I'm gonna let me make sure that we that I share this. Let's see here. Make sure that we are live on our. Yep, we're live there. I just want to share it to my hey Jonathan Knapp. Let's see here. All right, so I'm going to share this to uh, share. Oh, there we go. Share now. And hey, why don't you tell folks what you were up to last Sunday?
Oh, we were doing my vocal studio. We found a way, thanks to Central New York Jazz and Larry Lottinger, who went just absolutely crazy, making it very safe for us to come and sing. So we had all of my students, or the ones that were ready to sing. They came in Saturday afternoon for a master class, one at a time in the building, and then left. And
Yeah.
then Sunday they came in one at a time to sing with the trio, which consisted of Rick Montalbano, Tom Brigandi, and Larry played drums. And we have a really professional video that's going to be out, but there's a Facebook Live one up on my vocal studio page. But it was great. It was just so great to be, to see my people.
Yeah, I was telling you, we chatted briefly the other night, and I got a chance to watch it, and you were off to the side, and there were people. The vocalists were kind of in their own little isolation booth, and the musicians were masked. You were masked, and I'll tell you what, there was a lot of talent that afternoon, and we've even discussed about maybe bringing some of those folks onto one of our shows in the future.
I
And
think it would make a fun show to
I think so. I think so.
have them on.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
interesting people. Some of them have been with me for 5, 6 years. Scott Dennis has been with me for 8 years.
Oh man, I mean Scott commands the room like he's like he's in Vegas. I think I mean I forget what song Scott did, but anyway, I got to watch a good portion of it, and yeah, people should check it out on where again can they check it out on your music page?
I'm not eager for people. They can check it out if they want to. It's
Okay.
just a bit. It was taken off my iPad. It's
Oh,
very unprofessional.
it's actually a good
We,
video.
we will, however, have a professional video very soon. It'll be in my hands very soon, and then I can post that.
By the way,
But
yes, I want to say yes, Hannah. I know it's very short. Okay,
I like it.
it's my dear friend Hannah Chandler. Hannah and her she actually met her husband in college, and they live in Connecticut now, and dear friends. And I don't know if they've ever seen it quite this short. I know my mom's not a big fan of it this short, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
Uh,
but it just makes sense right now. Tell us what you just read. You just read something very disturbing on your phone.
yeah, I want to just pull down. Yeah, literally. Moments before you and I connected and did our little pre-show, in case people have not heard this news, Syracuse men's basketball coach Jim Boeheim has tested positive for COVID-19. Coach Boeheim says he is asymptomatic and he is
So
isolated.
far,
So far,
yeah.
asymptomatic, and he is isolating at home. So I know that's obviously going to be a big story in these parts, considering that he's certainly one of the most uh, visible visible people in all of Central New York, and it just goes to show you that look, doesn't matter whether you are a Hall of Fame basketball coach or a Grammy-winning singer or, well, even the president of the United States. Listen, COVID does not care your skin color or your gender or how famous you might be. It has certainly devastated this country. 250,000 people now have lost their lives. And right now, Nancy, we are in, I guess, what they're calling the second wave of this virus, where we're seeing numbers just skyrocket. So the bottom line is to our audience, just continue wearing a mask, be socially distant, be smart, and eventually we're going to get to the other side of this. And
plus, Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson are getting close to a vaccine. Not that I'm eager to be the first one in line.
No. Although again, it was encouraging to hear the news that Pfizer apparently does have a vaccine that's they're saying it's around 90% effective. But yeah, again, we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see. Don't worry, Steve. We're not going to stay on politics for very long. So. And how about Beth Ann she says, love my Scott Dennis. So you know what? We might just have Scott coming up on
we could. He'd have to have someone help him with the Zoom. As you know, Scott is challenged with his eyesight. So
yes, so as long as somebody sets him up, I mean, but his voice, his pipes are
he's one of my best friends. He's the person aside from you. I don't do this with you anymore because we do the show. You and I used to talk late at night.
Yes.
11:30 midnight. Like okay. That's what I do with Scott.
We've had some late night chats. Now, did you just is Cathy in the waiting room or no?
Yes, she is. Why don't we just let her in?
Oh, because I actually just got an email from Cathy saying, and you did as well, saying, we're talking East Coast time, right? She said she's on our Facebook, but doesn't see us talking. But I know that the show is streaming on my page and on our timeout page. So
let's bring her on.
But if she's in the waiting room, then just
bring her on.
Let's just bring her in. It's
Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh, what's that? Hello, Kath.
Sounded like Whoopi Goldberg for.
I was just listening to.
There she is.
Yeah, I was just listening to a friend of mine was doing impressions, and one was Whoopi Goldberg.
It sounded like her.
I heard the name Goldberg, so yeah.
Well, you look absolutely lovely, my dear.
Oh, well, thank you. So do you. And so do you, Eric.
Oh, please. Come on. I mean, sorry for I'm not going into the service. This is, this is just my typical November Syracuse haircut. So.
Well, we were just talking about the new war. COVID is the new war. Everybody thinks that they got through the last 4 years without a war, and they're wrong. We're in war now.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what we were talking about. So you could perhaps go into services where I was going with that.
Let's not go there. We want to focus on our guest, who people might notice right off the bat that she has a very nice microphone in front of her. And well, I want Nancy. I like that. That is very nice. Nancy, you should fill people in that you actually were a guest of Cathy's, correct?
Well, yeah. Why don't you tell us about your really super cool show?
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure which guest, because she's been at my house several times too.
Oh, yeah, we'll have to talk about that, because all we do is laugh. It's very hard for us to get anything to laugh.
That's true. We laugh all the time.
It's hard not to laugh around Nancy, let me tell you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've been doing this show since kind of the beginning of COVID, sometime in March. And so at first, for the first bunch of months, I was doing 6 days a week. And then I think about a month ago, I went down to 3 days a week.
Yeah. I was wondering how how that would settle with you. I mean, that's hard work, Kat. That's like really grueling. You do 2-hour shows.
I do. I like that. I know
Yeah.
probably some, well, a lot of people in the beginning, they go 2 hours. And then, but then,
I did.
yeah, but then at 2 hours, they go, really? It was 2 hours?
Well, and I said to Nance, I watched the show live that you and Nance did, and after 2 hours, I said, wait a minute, can't they keep going? But I remember you saying that
trust
day,
me, we could.
But I think Cathy said, actually, Nance, I'd love to keep going, but you had other things to do, and I'm sure Nancy had other things to do, but it was such a wonderful discussion. You know, you have a great show happening, and people can see the graphic Noontime Hang with Cathy Segal Garcia, 12 to 2 on Facebook and YouTube. But it was such a wonderful, it was a conversation, and that's what we pride ourselves on doing here. It was not so much of it was not a 60 minutes hard hitting interview. It was just two musicians who and educators who just love their craft and just having a nice little afternoon chat for a couple of hours, and it was lovely. And
I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I have to brag, I got a lot of views on that. We got a lot of views on that particular show.
You did.
Yeah. But you know what's cool is, for me, I like to lead people into perspectives. You know, that's what I like to talk about, perspectives. I don't like just lists of what the people have done, you know, and not many people do that. So it's really enjoyable for me to do it, you know, to lead people into spiritual perspectives, you know.
Sure.
Well, and maybe into the closet.
Yeah.
So tell me about, I want to know about, you've been doing this and we haven't talked. So what were some of the highlights? I says high points of your show, like things that people you thought were going to be one way and ended up another.
Yeah.
We had one of those. We had several of those.
Yeah, they shall go unnamed.
Well, about 75% of the people I knew, you know, either haven't talked to in a long, long time, but I've met them along the way or been good friends with them. And sometimes, like, just for instance, this guy, Nick Mancini, who's a vibes player, who I've done a lot of work with here in LA. And, you know, we have a very strong friendship. But I didn't realize how spiritual his point of view was, you know. When I say spiritual, I mean, you know, it's got the right stuff in it, you know.
We're not talking about religion. We're not talking about organizing.
No.
It's just something you and I share is that kind of spirituality. Yeah.
Yeah. So people like that, Anthony Wilson, the great guitar player, he was a lot like that. And it was really fun to speak with Diane Reeves.
That was interesting. I saw that.
Yeah.
I actually knew Diane for many moons ago. We were on a show together, and before she had the wonderful career that she now has.
Yeah.
And I found her to be a calm and you know, she didn't need to be very histrionic in any way. It was
right.
Interesting to watch her.
Yeah, we had a good conversation. Plus, she came to Los Angeles when she was 21, and she worked with my brother-in-law, who was a really great drummer. So she had this group. So over the period of time, as she was kind of growing still, I got to know her. So it was nice to revisit with her, because I hadn't revisited for a long, long time, you know.
Yeah. Well, we actually met, we were doing a telethon in Buffalo. Have you ever done a telethon?
Long time ago.
Do they do telethons anymore? I don't think so.
But they were awkward.
I remember watching the Jerry Lewis telethon every year.
Yeah. Well, this was a pretty big one in Buffalo, and they brought in major stars all the time.
Huh.
And they had us the night before, they had us sing to people that were dining and having dinner. And Diana, they had us all lined up, and we had to get up on this little platform and like do 2 minutes, you know, just like that. No band, nothing. Diane's standing there. She's going, man, I feel like a lounge singer again. And I felt like that. Well, welcome to my nightmare, sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, telethon's not the most creative venue to do, you know.
I know it. I know
Wow.
it.
Wow.
They could probably make them a little different, but I don't know.
But
So what are you guys doing right now? I mean, besides talking.
this is the highlight of my week, Kath, to be honest with you.
What do
Really.
you mean?
Well, I
You
mean,
mean like right this minute?
no, I think she's asking what are we doing besides our show on Sundays, and
Yeah.
you're doing a lot more than I am. I mean, I'm a booking agent, and
Oh,
that's yeah, no live
That's
gig.
not happening right now.
So my agency is kind of on hold, but luckily Nance has you have quite a few students, and so I know Nancy. I don't want to speak for Nance, but I know a good part of your week is taken up with a lot of these virtual sessions with students.
Yeah,
right?
well, I have found with the Zoom thing, I can't do more than 3 hours. I can't sit here
I know.
for 3 hours. I can't do
It's
it.
pretty exhausting.
It is exhausting. So I have to I have lessons almost every day of the week. And then I have to take care of other stuff. You know, I'm just like anyone else. And not only that, I prepare all those tracks. You and I had talked about that on your show about the Band in a Box tracks.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
fact, I just got in a mood and I just made everybody holiday tunes. I just sent them all, like, what are you doing New Year's? And
Oh, cool.
let it snow, let it snow. I said, because I think everybody needs a lift right now. Like just something that's fun to do aside from.
That's really nice. I like that. I sent some people your way.
Oh, I have had success with that. I think someone else got a hold of me. I've had 2 or 3 people get a hold of me lately. That's a good little side hustle for me, making those.
Definitely. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I made quite a bit of money from one young lady.
That's right.
Oh, I mean, how else you going to make money these days? Like, you know, I was having this conversation with, who were we talking with, Eric?
Well, this is our
John DiMartino.
Oh, John DiMartino. Okay.
Do you know John DiMartino, the jazz pianist from New York?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he was just saying how everybody is in this place now where we have to reinvent ourselves.
Yes.
You know. So what are you doing? So you're doing your show. Are you working on planning on doing some more recording? I want to play some of your stuff.
That's right. We never did play an intro. Usually we play an intro track.
Yeah.
Before our guest comes
Because
on.
this is all about you, really.
It is. It is. We're the ones asking the questions tonight.
Well, one thing I'm doing is I'm releasing singles, and the reason I'm doing it is, first I just wanted to feel it out. Like, how does it feel to release singles instead of waiting for the big bang, and the big bang happens and then the big die happens, you know?
Oh boy, did you nail that.
So the singles are fun. And plus I've been getting into iMovie and making these movies with the singles, which I'm really enjoying. It's kind of like being in the studio producing music. So it's really, it's good. And I'm releasing songs that are.
Get something to drink. I know you have that little tickle that you.
Yeah, I have.
She has a little tickle thing that bothers her.
Oh.
But it's fun. It's cool because I can release really what I think is apropos messages right now, you know.
Why don't we play one since we're talking about it?
Yeah, if you want, you can play that
Please.
First single, Make Me Want to Holler.
Yeah, I love this. Let me get this ready. It takes a second, as you know, to get it.
I mean, that was always a favorite song of mine, the Marvin Gaye.
This is a Marvin Gaye song, right, Cathy?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That record, like What's Going On, was one of my Desert Island records, you know.
Nance, did you hear what she just said?
That's what our next show is going to be.
Yeah, next Sunday, we'll give people a little preview. Next Sunday, Cathy, we're actually not having a guest on, and Nancy and I are going to do our Desert Island show where we each pick I don't know, 5 to 10 CDs that are just essentials if we ever get stranded on a desert island.
It went to the wrong place. My apologies.
Well, I'll be tuning in because I want to see what your desert island picks are.
Oh boy, that's gonna be. I'm hoping I can come up. I have so many.
Oh, we'll have to narrow it down. I can't wait to hear it.
Can you all see this now? Can everyone see this now?
Yeah, if you want to full screen it, Nance, go ahead.
How do I do that? Like this?
Well, just go down to the bottom, or no, that's fine. Yeah, and then just.
Yeah, but then,
well, down at the right, that square.
You could full screen it from right there, yeah, and then.
Oh, how do I get it to come back from? Oh, I don't know.
But that's full screen. That's nice.
I love the music.
Let's
I
enjoy
can
this.
hear the music. Can you hear the music good, Kath?
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful photo.
Rockets, moonshots, spend it on the have-nots. Money, we make it, before we see it, you take it. Oh, makes you wanna holler, the way they do my life, make me wanna holler. Natural fact is, honey, that I can't pay my taxes. So makes me wanna holler and throw up both my hands. Yes, it makes me wanna holler and throw up both my hands.
yeah, my first question is tell us about the musicians on that.
Yeah, I had these, this last project that I did, got two bands that are stellar bands. And that band is made up of, the arranger was Carrie Frank, who plays B3, like,
He's the one I met at the G Spot.
yeah,
right?
yeah, yep,
Yeah, brilliant,
yeah,
brilliant
yeah.
musician.
And that guy was talking about Nick Mancini on vibes, and Will Brahm on guitar, Alex Bonham on bass, and Steve Haas on drums. One of my favorite drummers. And yeah, that was that band.
That drummer was bad.
Yeah, I know. He's one of my favorite.
Bad, man. So now, is this your vision? You know, the feel, the vibe. I mean,
yeah. Well, yes, and Carrie, you know, he arranged it, but we talked about it, and I wanted to not do a copy of Marvin Gaye, you know, and and this is definitely in my DNA, you know, because, you know, I grew up in Boston, and I was in college in Boston in the 70s. So that had all this, you know, mix, right? It had like Motown and funk and, you know, ECM, Weather Report. It had so many different things. So that was definitely in my DNA. And yeah, and then the band could handle it so great, you know.
that was tremendous. Where did you get those photos? Did you search them? They were all good high resolution photos. Yeah. I do the same thing. I make movies. So I'm looking at it. It's so funny. I was just talking to my daughter about this, how once you're in the business, you look at everything through a completely different lens when you look at things like this, you know, just instead of just enjoying it, which I already did before the show. So I was like looking at, wow, those photos are moving.
I totally get that. Yeah, I totally get that. As a matter of fact, I watched the Dave Grusin documentary. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but my friend
watched that yet? Oh, I need to watch that.
Oh, I huge Dave
Grusin. Yeah. Is it on Netflix?
I guess you can just find it online. I can send you their email. Barbara Bentry and John Rangel, who live in Arizona, they made it, and he's a great piano player. She's a great singer and a filmmaker. And I asked her after watching the film, I said, God, the footage was so good. And she had also searched free video stuff, and used it actually. So that's what I did. I searched. I have, you know, some go-tos that are easy, like, you know, go-to easy singles, but you still have to take time and look for the feel of what you want the song to be, you know?
Well, I think that's what touches me here the most, is that you completely created layers of emotion and a very sensitive view of reality. Really, really. I love that. I loved it. And I love the way you handled your voice on it. You weren't in everybody's face. And I loved how you used the dynamic in that one spot and opened up completely like you were hollering. That was very well thought out.
Thank you.
I really liked it. Really liked it a lot.
Thanks.
I'll watch that again. I know a couple people here. Joe Cortini said killer band for sure. And a friend of mine, Deb Ford, said she loved it.
Cool.
Well, the whole package, not just the way you handled the song, but the video and the images that we were seeing in that video. I mean, gosh, there've been, how many things have made us want to holler this year? And just seeing, there was an image, the Black Lives Matter image in there, and people crying and people in despair. And I mean, again, we're not going to dwell on the year that has been 2020, but again, I think there was definitely, you evoked the emotion of this year in your phrasing and in that song, and then again compiled with all the video clips. It was just a perfect fit. So.
Thank you. Well, you know, anger is like, if you like kind of scope out emotions, anger is pretty up there. It's above grief and apathy, right? You're in apathy and you're in grief, and then you get angry. So I think that brought you into anger without, like, you know, without kill.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. I was having the most interesting conversation, which I have all the time with my daughter, because she's just a brilliant woman. I tell her all the time, you're so much smarter than I am, which isn't hard to do. She's very emotional. She's an empath like you and I.
Mm.
You know, Eric, you have a touch of empathy indeed.
I'd like
everything that goes on.
I think I'd like to think I have, yeah, more than a touch. But yeah.
I think so too. But you know, she allows herself to get very involved in a negative way with all that's going on. And I think I brought up a point to her. I mean, the human condition, the planet has always been in turmoil somewhere.
Yes.
I mean, this is nothing new. This just is. We got a shitload in 2020.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, this human condition that you captured there, it's just always been that way.
Yeah.
We've been kind of shielded from it in the States, in a way, not in a good way. I mean, the whole Black Lives Matter movement is definitely bringing this to the forefront for people who are not aware of it.
Yeah, and the internet is, you know, I mean, think about when this song first came out. It was the 70s.
Yeah.
You know, and it was about the war, and but it's like you said, shit has been happening forever. You know.
Right.
I'm lucky I'm not a woman in Syria right now. That would be a mess.
Yeah.
You know, it's bad enough as it is. being a woman with so many, there's a lot of haters still, but you know, and especially a strong woman. One thing I admire about you, and I watch you move, and I watch how you move in the world. And you're very observant. You're very aware of what's going on. You're very in touch with your own emotions and how you handle it. You don't let yourself lose it over things. You take what is there, that's just that ball of grief, as you said, and you turn it into art. That's something that we do. That's something that we artists do, you know?
Yeah.
How long did that take you to do that?
I think it took, you know, maybe 2 weeks to really put the video together.
Yeah.
And yeah. Of course, the recording was pretty easy. That basically got done in a day. We had 4 or 5 songs with that band, and I think we did it in 2 days. And then the other group also 2 days. So I'm just kind of releasing. Actually, the next one is from the last record that I released, Straight Ahead from the UK. I won't tell exactly what the song is so that everybody can be surprised, because I have this big buildup. 8 more days.
Ooh. Oh, you're doing a thing. You're doing the drop thing.
Yeah, Eric, you'd be impressed with my PR about it.
Well, you're good. You're very diligent. You're just amazing at the way you do that. So this is another tune you've already recorded the tune.
Already, yeah, that song came out on Straight Ahead to the UK, and it was a good tune, especially for right now. And I felt inclined to make a movie. So I made the movie, and I really like it. Like people say, who I've shown it to, they say, I can't stop smiling through it. You know, it's great.
Oh, I can't wait. Now you got me going.
Wow.
Is it really only 8 days?
Yes.
Man, we were hoping for a scoop tonight. No, just kidding.
Well, that's kind of the scoop right there.
Yeah. I'm not dealing with this as well as other people. I'm one of the people, I really have to dig deep to get myself to do music and things. I'm having a hard time with that.
Well, I did for a long time, you know, for a few months. I just would walk by the practice room, you know. Lately, I'm trying to think of why. Something shifted for me, and I just started getting, I think it was more feeding me, you know, like, yeah, let's work on a song, or I still take lessons, you know, and from a really great teacher. So he's very inspiring to me. So, you know, I take a lesson every 10 to 12 days. And
you're talking about vocal lessons.
Vocal lesson, yeah.
And
yeah.
Do you do that in person or
no, online?
Zoom.
Yeah, because I've seen him for about 2 years, so we already were in a groove before, you know.
Yeah.
And Eric, so I wanted to ask you, are you really into the PR part of booking, or?
Pretty much. I mean, well, I mean, for me, I mean, I come from a background of 25 years in radio.
Oh,
I was I was a music director, DJ. So, I mean, I would get stacks and stacks of music every week. So, you know, that was the bulk of my life. And then I just felt it was time for a new challenge. And I always have had the gift of gab.
yeah,
And I always felt like, and I had talked to a number of jazz artists who felt that we need people like you. It was a lot of jazz people do their own bookings, and they have to go through, you know, they're the ones that have to try to get gigs through clubs, and it's a lot of legwork on their end. So I just decided to get into it. I knew it was going to be a mountain to climb, and so I mean, I say to myself, I'm not a there's an agent, and there's you can have a manager as well. But yeah, I do the PR side of things as well, in addition to you know, lots of other responsibilities. But unfortunately, for the last 6 to 7 months, it's really been non-existent. But I just enjoy dealing with people, and I love this music, and hopefully I'll get a chance to be doing it again, and showcasing the talents of, frankly, people who deserve to be showcased. Hopefully, you know, next year sometime.
yeah. Are you finding yourself staying in touch with the people who you normally would reach out to?
Oh, sure. Yeah, you have to. Absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean, you've got to maintain. I've been able to build. I built up a lot of great relationships over the years in radio with record promoters and record labels and artists, and I have to. I've built those up now over the course of the last 2.5 years, and so now during this unprecedented time, you have to maintain those contacts and those relationships, and so yeah, no, I've definitely been able to do that, and that's what takes up a good part of my week, so again, obviously, it's just the unknown of where we don't have a timeline as to say, okay, well, by this
Yeah,
date, you know, these clubs should. So the best I can do now is just have a good rapport still with my clients and with clubs and with club owners and with festivals, and hope, fingers crossed, that we're going to get back to where we once were, even if that's kind of it's a gradual process.
yeah.
Hmm.
I saw a commercial on TV from Crown Royale that makes me want to go out and buy a bottle of Crown Royale.
Oh.
They're,
They
they're
want.
donating some of their money to you know, like famous venues, famous old venues. I thought, wow, yeah, man, that's cool. You know, it's really a good commercial. A few singers came on. And they said, you know, basically, we want to come back. You know,
Yeah.
so
I'm
I
going to
just
search that. Maybe you can see it on YouTube.
maybe I don't know.
You know, sometimes you can find those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
What,
go ahead, Nance.
no, I was just saying, I was going to ask Cathy what things are like in LA. I mean,
Right.
has things, you know, in New York, we're about ready to lock down again.
Well, it's hard for me to really get a handle on what is going on in LA. I've heard that the numbers have spiked, but like today, I went out to the do-it-yourself store to get a few things, and the parking lot, you know, which had a number of different stores, was full. It was absolutely full, and so I don't know. I mean, you know, you hear different things on the news about people going to. I just heard today, like some guy went to a few restaurants with some people, sat outside, took the mask off because he was sitting outside, but he sat out there for 4 hours, and you know, the owner comes by, the waiters come by, and he actually got sick. So now getting sick and dying is different, and I personally think pretty much everyone's going to get sick at some point, you know, from this, just like a flu would get everybody sick eventually. But but however, this one seems to be killing people, like with a little, you know, ferociousness too. So of course we don't want that, but I don't know. I mean, I don't I don't hear about LA shutting down. I haven't heard about that. So, but I have heard about the numbers spiking. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, and you hear this term pandemic fatigue, where it feels like there's
What is it?
a lot of people pandemic fatigue, where people who have been wearing masks for months and months and months, it's and who have kind of lived a very sedentary lifestyle where they haven't been able to go out or they've lost their job and people are it's almost like they're tired of doing that, but yet we can't allow ourselves as a society, at least for those people who have been vigilant and following the protocols, which I know, I mean, Nance and I talk, and I mean, Nance follows them as vigilantly as anyone. To me, putting on a mask when I leave the apartment to go grocery shopping, it's just become like brushing my teeth. And so I think we just have to accept the fact that it is a part of our life, and it's going to be a part of our life even after a vaccine comes around. And so I think that if we get fatigued that, putting on a mask, I mean, there are people that are wearing masks 12, 14 hours a day working in hospitals, the frontline workers. So for you to go to a grocery store or go to your pharmacy or go to get gas and put on a mask that's going to protect you and more importantly, protect people around you, I just don't want this fatigue to become so widespread that, and I guess maybe it has to a certain degree, because there has to be a reasoning behind why these numbers are
going up.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I never quite understood why people were so up in arms about I mean, up in arms about wearing the mask, like their rights were being taken.
Right.
Like, come on, really? Just get over that. That's just stupid. But also, I really believe that people who are like that are missing a part of their life that they could be recreating. Like, how about driving up to the mountains and getting out and hanging out, getting some space and doing something different so your fatigue goes away? Like do something for yourself,
Sure.
I really do think people are missing that, they're not creating stuff that, if they feel uptight or weird, that's the time you do something good for yourself. I don't know. I just think that's really obvious personally.
The one of the real blessings about I have a love-hate relationship with where I live. It's tough for my career, but on the other hand, it's very affordable for me and it's very clean and safe. And I'm every day up in the woods walking. And there's no one. I love it. I mean, no one, although we do have COVID here in Fairhaven now.
Yeah.
So I just don't, but I don't go out to bars. I don't go to restaurants. I think when I was with you was the last time I was in a restaurant.
Yeah, right. And that was pre-COVID.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we were just getting into it. Remember, we were just starting to worry about it.
Starting, yeah.
Yeah. That was my last little mini tour. I was in LA and then I was in Denver.
Yeah.
By the time I got to Denver, you could feel that this was, let me go home now. Can I go home now?
Yeah, I was supposed to go to Japan for 3 weeks in March. And then I was thinking about it at that time, actually. I think that when you were here. And one friend in Hiroshima said, oh, come on. Osaka, she said, oh, come on. Tokyo said, don't come. And she was the doctor. And then the few days that started inching towards, more towards when I was going. And I finally just was like, there's too many variables, I don't know. There's just too many variables happening. So canceled.
Yeah. Not only that long of a flight. I mean, wearing a mask, I don't know.
Yeah.
That would be a difficult thing to do.
That would be difficult.
How many times, Cathy, have you been? You've been to Japan a number of times, correct?
Yeah, probably 40 or 50 or something. Because I've been going since around 1980. So yeah, and for a while, I went the first trip I was there for 3 months. Then I hooked up with somebody who he he owned a music school and he was a booking agent. So he started bringing me over twice a year for a month each time. And for 10 years, I did that. And then after that, I would go back like once a year. So, and now I go back usually once a year.
Oh, wow. That flight is hard on me. I don't do so well with that. I don't know how you, I got in the funniest situation. This was the saddest little thing. A friend of mine, I think I had asked you if you ever heard of Jeremy Montero, and I don't think you knew him. He's sort of a jazz icon over in Singapore.
Okay.
And he had invited me to sing at the Singapore Jazz Fest, which is a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
And I didn't go because of the way they had the flight routed, and I would have just been flying for like 30 hours.
Oh God.
And I just said, no,
that's
I'm not going to do that. Of course, you're in LA, so you go the other way. Go.
But it's still a long trip. It's like 16 hours or something, It's long.
That's not bad.
Yeah. Well, 30 is really bad.
Huh?
30 hours is bad.
Oh, yeah. It's like, I can't. I said, I called him, I said, I don't think I'll live through that. So that's the hard part of what we do. The traveling part is very difficult.
It is. It is.
Aside from it being obviously a very long flight, but having been there as many times as you have, and having spent sometimes, as you said, like 3 months at a time there, I mean, over the years, would you say you've kind of immersed yourself in the culture there, I would think, from having been there so much, whether it's learning the language, eating the food, getting to know the people. I mean, you probably have a very special connection with the Japanese people. And I know they love their jazz in Japan, that's for sure.
Yeah, I totally do. I actually feel like it's my second home. I feel really comfortable when I'm there. I can speak a little, but I can't really. I'm not fluent at all, but I have a number of words. And once I get there, I get into the way they communicate. And I love teaching there. I mean, just the students are so open and interested and empathetic,
They're very hungry for the knowledge.
Yeah, it's really lovely.
I love
the audiences are fun, and the food. I mean, over there, the food is really good.
Oh my God. I always lose weight when I go there. It's great.
I know.
Always.
Really healthy. Really.
Always. And you don't even notice that it's happening. It's like, because you're eating so healthy.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
And you're walking a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've been out to the sticks too. I've really been like north and south on the islands and everything. I have to say the islands are really like some of my favorite place to go because, it's just like being in the country. So people are just a little more down to earth and it's really beautiful. And there's a lot of space and, the people are just a little more calm, right? Because they're not in the city.
Yeah. So, but still they have a degree of culture and dignity.
Yeah.
That is different from what you see here when you go 10 minutes.
It's like another planet. It's definitely another planet. Yeah.
I love it. I could easily live there. Easily.
Their culture is really definitely different. And it is what it is. It's beautiful. The artists are really wonderful. And then there's the other side, which is really weird, some of the business people are really weird. And also the women are suppressed. And
it's a patriarchal society.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, they're an island and they really had a very strong beginning, right? And so all of that stuff just came up with them. And I was just watching today, kind of in and out of the TV room. I was watching, what was it called? It was Tom Cruise. He was he got captured in the Japanese. It was a long time ago it's a true story, actually. What is it?
Is it a movie? Something new?
Yeah, no, it's not a new movie.
Well, is it the Last Samurai?
Yes.
Oh,
that's one of my favorite movies because oh my God, it was just so that was so beautiful. That just really showed the beautifulness of the Japanese people, you know?
I know of the name of it, and I've still not seen the movie, but I knew that Tom Cruise, when you said Tom Cruise, it just popped into my head, but I've not yet seen the movie. But
You'll like it, Eric. It's really, it's not a girly movie at all, and it's got a lot of depth to it. And I forget the Japanese. He's very famous, the actor. He's
oh yeah, Ken Watanabe.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I love him too.
I know Nancy's shaking her head like, how
you're doing, Eric?
Nancy, I didn't do my journalistic homework knowing that we were going to talk about Ken Watanabe. So this is all up here, Nancy.
No, it's not, Eric. No. This is what we do, Kat. He's my journalist, and he looks everything up, and I just hammer on.
But listen, I do some homework ahead of time, so like I may have some good dirt on Cathy bring out before the end of the show. But I had no inkling we were going to talk about The Last Samurai, so there's no research there. That's the good old DC noggin right there.
You're like being serious.
Nancy, I swear I can tell you, I honestly did not Google that. I just happened to know that Tom Cruise and Ken Watanabe were the two main stars of this movie, which I have not seen. And
now everybody that's watching, including me, we all have to go watch this movie.
Well, we got to watch that. And we got to watch this Dave Grusin.
The Dave Grusin one. Is Dave Grusin actually in that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, they totally hooked up with him. It took them 4 years to complete the movie, and it's a really good movie. Really, really good movie. Yeah.
Well, you're in movie land out there.
Well, they're from Arizona, though.
Well, everybody's everywhere. I think about this all the time, especially now that COVID's happened. A lot of people have left New York. The people are just all over now, and we're just living our careers out through the internet.
Yeah.
Which we were headed on that road anyway.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that you and I share. We're both pretty savvy when it comes to the internet stuff.
Yeah.
If you want a career in this century, you need to be.
Yeah, you guys were asking about reinventing. You know, every now and then I ask somebody to be on my show and they don't want to be, but it's really rare. And this one guy who I found, who I just thought was a great musician, where is he living in Brazil or Mexico? Mexico, I think. He didn't want to be on the show because he's trying to place himself in a position where he can monetize what he's doing. He has something like 80,000 fans on Facebook, like his Facebook music page, 80,000. And
wow.
So he's trying to limit what he does for free, to me, this kind of discussion, I don't think needs to be monetized. I think it's actually good. I think, absolutely. Wow, it's like I'm being introduced to a new audience, What could be bad about that, And then people will get interested because maybe they like what I have to say as a person too, So I think it's cool, but we can't, he's reinventing himself like that. He's reinventing himself as not, placing himself in this position of.
Well, you and I, in our prospective regions, we take leadership roles.
Yeah,
both of us. So it's a natural. The word isn't there, but it's natural that we would go into like a TV broadcasting thing.
Yeah.
That just makes so much sense. Oh, there we are talking. There's our show.
In case people were wondering, like, was Nancy like kind of bored during that interview? Look at the joy on your face.
Oh, we had a ball. We just had a ball. And I could tell anybody who's listening, you can watch this show no matter who she has on, and it is very stimulating and wonderful. Just really wonderful.
Thank you.
You're really good at it, Kath. Really good.
Yes, and that's why when Cathy started asking me some questions earlier about my role as a booking. For a second, I thought, wait a second, she's turning this into her show.
Like,
wait a second.
I know she would, but she does that.
But that's the thing. And I've done interviews my whole life when I was in radio, and now Nancy and I have been doing this is our 24th show.
Wow.
And we can't compare to you who do we do one a week. You're doing what every day.
Well, now I'm doing 3 days a week, but yeah, Monday will be 175.
Okay, 175 shows, and so you get into that interview mode, and I'm the same way, and again, it's so fun to learn about people and learn about how they think, and again, I learned things about Nancy that day when she chatted with you that I never knew, and again, you two both have obviously both singers, and when you guys were talking shop, so to speak, I was so entranced,
But this is the way the music business and the world should operate. We're both jazz singers. We both work hard to get our audiences together and to keep our recordings out there and all this sort of stuff. But we hit it off right away when we met. We just hit it off right away. And Cathy hosts me when I go out to LA. She'll let me last time stay at her house, and it was so much fun. Hey, is your kitchen done yet?
No.
Oh, it's a ways.
It's just 2 or 3 more weeks, actually.
So guess what that means?
That means I'm going to cook.
No, that means 2 months.
No, really. Now it really is about 2 or 3 weeks away.
Oh,
but then I have to put everything back, so that's at least a month.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. I did a kitchen
rehab. But you know what I was thinking when you were speaking that, and I think this is what now has changed. Is remember when singers were competitive?
Well, that's where I was trying to lightly trod, but yeah. I didn't know how to word it properly.
Yeah.
But, I feel like that is changing. And I'll tell you why, because I'm changing. I'm changing the way I look at the others who are sharing my love for this music. Yeah. And I've had to change my, at times envy that someone got a break that I didn't get.
Yep.
And it's been wonderful to have this new outlook, and more like these are my sisters and brothers, and you start to realize, right? Certain things happen to certain people at certain times, and there's just nothing that anyone can do about it.
It's all your own personal path.
Yeah.
And along those lines, one thing that I realized a long time ago, because I had a really dear friend who was a superb singer who got things handed to her on a platter, and I would have to work 300 years to get that same thing. So at that time, I realized, if I've always been a person who has thought about that I create my own reality, right? And so if I'm creating my own reality, right now, you guys are in my reality. So anything that you benefit from is actually my benefit too, because now you're an extension of me. So why do I have to be jealous? Because I'd like to be up on that stage or invited wherever, but that's okay because my friend is, and wow, she just won, a lot of that good feeling, and I'm sharing in that,
Yeah.
So,
well, the unfortunate thing for me is I confused making a living with being in the music business.
Yeah.
I really got lucky when I started teaching, because that kind of took the pressure off of that.
Absolutely.
And you didn't have to constantly worry about where you were working and who you were working with and blah blah blah. It does help. It takes a lot of that pressure off.
Yeah. So speaking of teaching, Eric, I don't know if you want to share this or not, but I'm curious how you're making a living right now.
Well, right now, I mean, it's difficult. I mean, I'm trying to do some voiceover work on the side.
Oh, I didn't know you were doing that, Eric. That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah, a little bit. I actually have I've collaborated a few times with a a good friend of mine, actually my old college roommate who works at ESPN in Connecticut, and he actually as kind of a side gig besides working at ESPN, he does audio books.
Oh,
Oh,
that's a great little corner of the market to get in.
And he has recently, well, he and I actually, I don't want to veer too off the beaten path, but this is in accordance with your question. I've actually he's been asked a couple of times to do some voice tracks to a video that is promoting a particular product, and he's needed like a sidekick, a cohort, and he's asked me to help him out on a few of those occasions, and it actually pays quite well.
oh.
So I have equipment. Actually, the first time he had to mail me some equipment, and since then I've purchased some equipment that I have here in my apartment where he and he'll be in Connecticut, I'll be here, and we'll kind of do we'll be looking at the same video. We have like a script. He does his script, I do mine, and then we get paid to do that. And we've done a number of those things, and it's kind of not much, but it's helped pay the bills. But he was the one that encouraged me. He thinks that I should maybe try to pursue the audiobook world, which again, I'm not sure how easy it would be to get my foot in the door, but
I know somebody who does that on a regular basis.
You do?
I do. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm hoping.
Do you, Kath? Do you know some people out there?
I know one guy actually who, strangely enough, did an audiobook for my cousin across the United States, like not related at all. My cousin is a writer, and he said, "Oh, do you know blah, blah, blah?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, he did my audiobook." I was like, "What? Oh, that is so interesting, you know." But I think that's the only person I really know who does them.
Yeah.
So there's a studio up here that's how they make their living.
Oh, nice.
Well, that's the thing. Unfortunately, I don't have my own personal studio, but the studio there is a studio that we have here in Syracuse. Nancy knows exactly the studio I'm referring to, that it would be amazing if I could get my foot into the world of audiobooks. Maybe I could utilize their studio and get it done. But I do feel that my voice, which I feel like has always been one of my strengths over the years, being a radio DJ and talking about, this was the Miles Davis Quintet with this, and that's one thing, but I feel like reading a book and having to put certain emotions in, it would take some practice, but I do feel I have the skill set to give it a try.
One of my biggest complaints about audiobooks, now that you're saying it, is
what's that?
Because people do not know how to recite things, and
really?
No, very few people who do these books. It's so boring. Didn't you just listen to Mary Trump do? Oh, I listened to that one because I
did not.
I didn't want to sit and read it. She wrote a book about.
Oh yeah, her book. Right.
So I listened to the audio, but it was just like. But I think you're going to be better than you suspect, Eric.
Well,
it's music. It really is. It's just music.
It's something that I definitely have an interest in, and I think that over the last 8 months or so, I think a lot of us have had to do some soul searching and to think, okay, what if we are not able to go back to what we used to do? And obviously millions and millions of people are right now out of work. Now, fortunately, I've saved up money and I'm not in a position where I worry about paying my bills every month. And sadly, there are people, of course, I don't have a family right now where I don't have a wife or kids. So it's just me, myself, and I. I mean, thank goodness my parents are alive and healthy. They live about 5 hours away downstate on Long Island, and I certainly care deeply about them. But in terms of supporting just myself, I'm managing, but it's going to get to a point where not knowing when live gigs are going to return, I don't know. Some of my clients, I don't know how long those relationships will last and how much there'll be a need for someone like myself. So I've got to. You always have to have a plan B, C, and D, and this is, I guess, right now my next venture, perhaps.
Well, we don't have any sponsors for this show. We just do it.
Yeah, me too.
We do it because, first of all, we love it. And
Yeah.
second of all, people they want to see us.
Yeah.
They want to hear us talk. They love our guests. You know, we always have someone like you, someone engaging and interesting lives.
I thought Crown Royal was one of our sponsors, Nance. No? Oh no, that was
You're
Cathy.
making me more thirsty.
Yeah.
I remember coming out in the kitchen. You don't drink. I'm a wine drinker. You do drink, but you're not like me.
No, at 9 o'clock it becomes wine o'clock for Nancy.
Yeah, it's 1 o'clock. I came out in the kitchen and here you were making a drink, and I'm like, what are you doing? I'm having a drink. I'm going, just like that? Oh God, we laughed. We had so much fun.
So I guess I should ask this question. Having been one other question about Japan, do you like sake?
Yes.
Cathy? Yes. Is it strong? Very strong sake?
It's pretty. It gives a little punch. Yeah, it's stronger than like regular wine.
Okay.
And the flavors are different, and also cold or hot makes a difference.
Okay.
Yeah,
But I didn't know.
It's also sold in vending machines.
Vending machines, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I never got over that. That's. Let's talk about that. Somebody asked how long we had the show. I'm trying to answer here. I think the first time you experience smaller Japanese hotels, and I don't mean a chain. I mean, I've been blessed that they brought me over and they put me up in pretty nice situation. Good digs, as you say.
Yeah.
You know, but then we did this tour where we went, to the south part of Japan, and these little, and of course the hotel rooms are, what are they, 150 square feet or something?
Hotel rooms are
you just walk by the bed, and it's an unusual experience for sure. And the vending machines, that's where I was going. The vending machines, that's a trip, man.
Yeah, what they sell in the vending machines.
Oh, all kinds of interesting
all
things.
kinds of things. And you can go into a 7-Eleven and easily buy a porn book, that's very common. You see people.
It's the most interesting culture. They're very reserved and respectful of one another, and boy, but they just love their snacks.
I mean, I'm used to getting a bag of chips in a vending machine. I didn't realize that they go way beyond chips,
beer and booze and all the
porn
things
books
that you might need.
Wow.
You know what you would really like, Eric, is some of the restaurants, especially the smaller, more intimate restaurants, can be really elegant the way that the food is served and the food itself. Like there's something called kaiseki, which is a special kind of serving and cooking that they go to the market that day. There's no regular menu. They go to the market, they find high quality stuff. Then they serve you these, little, here's one portion and that's there. Then another little, and then something else. And it's really, the whole thing is very elegant, but comfortable,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's really nice.
Huh. I was tooling around with a woman her name was Miyako.
Uh-huh.
And I was introduced to her through Houston Person. So she's a huge fan of Houston Persons. And it's so good to have a person who lives there, take you places, because otherwise you feel like a tourist,
Yeah.
So she took me to a little restaurant where they're famous, and those little restaurants, I mean, they're tiny.
Yeah.
They were famous for their pork. And the gentleman that cooked would, every piece he served, he would first taste it to see if it was even good enough to give, to serve. It was, I mean, the whole thing is mind blowing over there. It's incredible. We didn't even spend the whole show talking about Japan.
No, true. But the first time I went there, so it was a long time ago, and I went for 6 weeks to Tokyo and then 6 weeks to Osaka in the Playboy Club. And so I was,
you were singing and
yes, but I did try on an outfit and
sent did you have your, oh, you did?
I took a picture and I sent it home to my mother.
Well, you're small enough where you might fit into that. You'd be awfully cute with that little tail.
And it just so happens I have a photo of it right here. No, I'm just kidding.
You don't.
Nancy knows I'll bring up pictures that I'll find online. That one I couldn't find. No.
Well, the thing that was cool about that was that for 6 weeks I was in the same apartment. And so I kind of made myself, like, every night that I would walk home from the gig, I would go by this side I guess I could call it a restaurant, but basically you sit, there's a line of seats that's outside. Yeah. There's kind of a little covering over, and people are eating and drinking, and they're cooking. So I would force myself to go in there, and I started feeling really comfortable after a while. People were so communicative, even though we weren't speaking the same language. It was like, it really taught me a lot about the culture. That was really fun.
Before we get too much into Japan, we should talk about your music some more. Yeah. Do you write anything? Do you write?
Yes, I do. I've written about 60 songs probably.
Wow.
And I try and record at least one per recording, but I think I have several on a lot of recordings,
And do you write the music and the lyric?
I do.
Cool. Is there something that we should look up and listen to maybe?
Sure. I think I don't know if you have what I sent you, but I think
I do. I accidentally closed it all out. I had them all open and then I closed it all out, but I've got the email here if you could tell me which one it is.
Yeah. Well, tell me the names and I'll tell you which.
Okay. You had something from Dreamsville, Pensativa.
Pensativa. No, that's a Claire Fisher song. Yeah.
Yeah. The three of us. I don't know.
That's an original one.
Did you like that one?
Yeah, I sent you the ones that I liked.
Excuse me. I'm having a day. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Haven't we all?
No, I'm having a bit of a day. So you may have to nudge me.
No problem. But I will say about the composing is that sometimes it's kind of like a painter. You know how sometimes painters will get into like a week of painting in red, then they'll move on. It's kind of finished. So that's how I compose too. I generally compose in these kind of this moment that's a group. So anyway, that song is kind of from more of a folky type of place that I grew up with, but the players are jazz. So they made something really beautiful with this music. And this song was about, I had twin sisters who were 4 years older than me, and they both died. So this song, I was in the garden and this song came to me. I just wrote about who we were together, and it's really, every time I hear or sing the song, it just takes me right to that place. And so yeah, it's really quite pretty what they did with it.
Your voice, I always hear you do, as you said, you have roots in the folk world, which I hear a little bit of Emmylou Harris. I hear a little bit of Joni in you. And of course, Joni was on the jazz side of the fence, of the folk fence.
Yeah.
So I hear a lot of that there. Now, I think your more recent stuff, you've gotten more into speaking voice range and a little more inventive with melodies and things than your earlier stuff, from what I've experienced.
I don't know. I'm not so sure about that, but it's one thing that has happened probably more because I've gotten into more of the improvisational world, is
Yeah.
that I've been more improvisational, I think.
I
But
think that's what I'm trying to say.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
early on I was still pretty jazzy, you know.
Mm.
Well, let me see if I can play this. I have to, what's going to play it? Where will it be playing?
It'll
Playing
play,
in Dropbox, but how do I share that? I would have had to have downloaded it.
well, no, not necessarily. You can go into Dropbox and open that file up and then just click play and it'll play through your iTunes.
Yeah.
You think?
Mhm.
I think, yeah, because I'm looking
But
at
I
the
mean-
same email.
Do you hear it?
Yes. But you might want to, I can play it for you if you want. But yeah, you might, it's best if the volume of what you're playing is around 3/4%, because otherwise it distorts.
You were closer. How's that? Peaches and cream.
Pretty good.
Beautiful. And as life would move on, our attachments grew strong to our friends and relations in our own location. I love it. And in our minds we were three. We were close as sisters could be, living too far away for a visit each day. We accepted the distance, had life's own insistence. We always knew one day that you would go away. just stunningly beautiful.
Thanks. Sorry, that's a bit of a sad song to play.
Yeah, but I almost cried.
Yeah.
I almost cried. I wanted to play a little bit of this one here. I thought it's kind of punchy and fun.
Yeah.
Let me see if this was the one.
Again, if it's punchy and fun, you might want to bring your volume down a little.
Wheelers and Dealers.
Yeah, that's fun. That's from Straight Ahead to the UK.
I won't say a word.
That's not the one, I'll tell you.
Okay. I wish I had downloaded these. I would have found a way to play them. I mean, I just want to play a little bit of it because we played two very kind of laid backy things. Very cool.
That's another song that he wrote. Dave Frischberg probably wrote that 30 or 40 years ago. So apropos, you know.
You know, Nance, the one song, the one version of Wheelers and Dealers that always comes to my mind when I was on the radio playing is Mark did a version of that.
Did Mark do that?
Really?
I think.
I've never heard. I would love to look that one up.
I mean, you could look. I guess you could look it up later, but I'm pretty sure that Mark Murphy did. The Frischberg that song, and you know, put his own spin on it. But I love what Cathy did with it there.
Thanks.
I loved it.
That record was my first Straight Ahead record. After all the records I've done, that was the first Straight Ahead one. Really? And so, yeah.
Well, it's interesting that you're doing the singles thing because that's kind of where I'm headed. And I didn't even talk to you about it. Yeah. I've been working. I have all these originals that I have written in the 80s.
Oh.
Back when my life was very tumultuous. Not that it's much better now. But you know, I was worried about all the things, all the love and all the stuff. And so I wrote a lot of music, and they're all different vibes. One is like a jazz thing, one is like an R&B thing, one is like a rock thing, and I'm thinking, put them out as singles.
Yeah.
Put them out as singles. So that's what I'm doing. But I've been busy with this and that, and I need time to sit. I like to put it, I open up Pro Tools and I make a track and I sing to it and I develop it because I've got to bring it forward because, you know, the 80s is, you know, it's going to have a tinge of that. You can't help that, but I'm really excited about moving forward with that. So it's interesting. We're on, once again, you and I are just in the same universe doing the same thing.
That's really cool. It's sometimes, I mean, I think it helps to have somebody outside of yourself give some suggestions for an arrangement that you may not think about.
You know, and that's what's been worrying me a little bit. I'm like sitting here thinking, I wish I had another couple sets of ears on this because there's probably some nice places I could go, but you know, we don't know everything.
Right.
You know, we're creative and we write, but I don't know where it would go. And that's why you've got that benefit of all those fabulous people that you're working with.
Yeah.
I have my pool is a little shallow where I live.
Yeah, but I have to say too, like there's a few songs that I've written recently that I had kind of trouble flushing out. And so I like this one song I sent to two different people who I really admire, and they didn't get it. They didn't get the songs. And so I just took them back and I just said, okay, I'm going to hunker down and make them what I want them to be, you know.
Do you play piano?
I play enough uh I don't play great at all, but I play enough to kind of support, you know, ideas. You
So
know?
is that where you're writing on the piano, or I heard guitar in there? I was wondering if it's a
Yeah.
No, write on piano, or you know, I might start it vocally and then
my big setback is that I'm much
That
more
guitar too has
what?
what
What
were you
did you-
saying, Eric?
no. I was just going to interject real quick that guitar that we heard on the three of us had a almost a Spanish guitar
Beautiful.
flavor to it.
He's one of the best guitar players that lives over here, and he's pretty much known. Larry Kuntz.
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Of
Yeah,
course.
we know Larry. Yeah.
Well, you were saying, Nance, I interrupted you.
I don't know what I was saying. You interrupted me, and now I don't know, Eric.
Okay.
And
Well,
I
this is
can't
gonna-
remember. So we make a really good trio.
Well,
And Eric's the young one. Excuse me.
Well,
Anyway,
we
By the
were
way-
talking about songwriting. You asked me about if I have.
I was saying the sad thing about me is that I'm much more in love with producing than I am anything.
Yeah.
If I could just produce records the rest of my life, I would be the happiest person on earth.
Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah, I'm not really real into writing. I don't write at all anymore. So I'm having to pull this stuff out and think of things to do. And it's because, like I said, my life is not, I'm not in that place anymore, that my head is not in that place where I'm like upset about stuff. But I'm not really. I'm like, you know, so the problem with becoming a guru is that everything's all right.
I was just saying that today. Because somebody was saying, well, if you want to work on this particular thing, you have to think about something where you're unsettled. And I'm like, you know, really, there's nothing that I'm particularly unsettled about except my cough.
That's what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, so funny. We'd be laughing. We'd be in the car now laughing so hard. It would be ridiculous.
Just, hey, two really quick things. I know we're running a little.
Yeah, we are. We
Well-
usually do it an hour and a half. So
On time. The picture, Cathy, behind you, are those they're twin sisters? on the
Yes.
wall?
Yes.
Yeah. I've been looking at that picture throughout, and then when you mentioned them, I said, yeah, they definitely look like twins.
Yeah. One died about, let's
Oh,
see, 25 years ago, and then the other died about 11 years ago.
oh my.
Yeah. Yeah, they both were not old. One was 48 when she died, and one was 60. So,
our buddy Dan put up Mark Murphy's version of the
Yeah.
Wheelers and
oh, cool. Thanks, Dan.
But then look, what did he write after that, Nance?
He said, I like Cathy's version better. But we know that. He's a fan.
Of course.
Yes.
He's my supporter.
Yeah, he's a big supporter.
So the other thing I was going to bring up, and this we can kind of like wrap on this. I wanted to wrap with a cool little story, and this is where my journalism comes into play, Nance. I did my homework, and I was curious if Cathy might.
Your show work. I know you.
Yeah, I was curious if Cathy might remember a story that involved Carmen McRae, Sarah Vaughan, Irene Krall, and Cathy Segal Garcia waitressing.
Yes, I remember that story.
And the song "Some Other Time."
That was a good story.
Is there a way you can?
Yeah, sure. When I came into, and I even recorded that song too, by the way.
Beautiful.
Thank you. So when I came to LA, first I waitressed at Howard Johnson's, and then I moved on to the jazz club, Dante's. And so I was waitressing, and Irene Krall and Alan Broadbent were performing, and nobody was in the club except Sarah Vaughan and Carmen McRae sitting together. And I was like, I was the waitress. Can I, what would you like? Whatever. And then.
Yeah, but you had me at Irene Krall and Alan Broadbent.
Oh, yeah.
Not alone.
I know. And then Irene sang Some Other Time, and somebody told me in the room that she had cancer and she was dying. That was probably her last gig. Yeah. So that made a huge impression on me. I mean, the song is a totally gorgeous song,
Oh, sure.
And so that, but I mean, that really that stuck with me pretty deeply. Yeah.
Like you ain't in Kansas anymore.
No.
Can you imagine having those two women in the Cohen and Sarah? I mean,
yeah. Well, they used to hang out at that time in LA. I mean, that was the days Clint Eastwood used to hang out at Dante's, and
you used to hear about Dante's all the time on the Johnny Carson show.
Oh yeah,
all the time.
It was definitely the hang.
They were all talking about that.
Yeah, yeah.
And Jack, what was the
Jack Sheldon.
Jack Sheldon. I knew him pretty well. I'm just so glad to have you as a friend and know that you're there in LA, because LA for me is a place. It's another important place in my life, and I have to keep coming back. I would love to live there. I think at this juncture in my life, I don't know whether that's a smart thing to do, to just pack up and try to move to LA at my age, but I can always come, and I know I can see you. She was all my girlfriends that live there.
I was going to say and stay at my house, but she thought she'd be polite. But you can always stay at my house.
Aww.
Well, I got to see your new kitchen.
That's true.
Well,
Eric, you're invited too. You can stay at my house.
Thank you very much. Well, when we have you on the show again, you can do it from your kitchen next time.
Okay.
And you can even do a cooking demonstration if you'd like.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, that'll have to be me. He's always after me to do that. Well, we just want to thank you so much for joining us, and
thank you for having us.
What's that?
This is my last, Nancy. This is our last chance. I'm putting this up to promote it, to see if maybe Cathy will give us the song title, but I know she won't. So,
but that was the original idea, and that did not happen on the cover.
That's quite the cover.
But I sort of get why it didn't.
Yeah. That ended up not
the microphone. There's just something a little off with that.
So, straight ahead to the UK, and the new single again. You said 8 days away.
8 days away.
So everybody, go follow Cathy. You have your Cathy Segal Garcia page on Facebook, and I'm sure that's where you're going to be.
Everything, a lot of people are using Instagram lately, so it'll be on.
I've never gotten into it so much. Do you use it?
I do more and more, because it's really a lot of people like us even are using it. So yeah, it's a real easy way to communicate in right here, right now.
Well, it's been such a pleasure. Congrats on 175 shows.
Yeah.
Of Noontime Hang. So you're coming up on 200, and then Nancy and I next week. Nancy, we celebrate 25 next week.
Cool.
So we got a long way to go.
I'm glad you reminded me we're doing that Desert Island. I gotta that might be more than I can think about in a week's time.
All right. Well, anyway, this was as enjoyable for me as it was watching the two of you chat on Cathy's show, and Kath, it's been great to get to know you tonight, and I hope we get to keep in touch, and I'll take you up on that advice. I'll sleep on the couch if I have to. Let Nancy have the guest room.
Just never mind.
Well, all right.
You don't even have to come with Nancy. Even if you came alone, you could still stay at my house.
Well, I've always wanted to travel with Nancy, because I feel
we want to get in a car and come across the country and just laugh.
I feel like we'd have a lot of laughs, and we would get in a lot of trouble too, I think.
Oh, you don't, let me, Eric. the kind of trouble I get in ain't going to happen to you. So don't worry about it.
All right.
You,
All right.
But you can watch.
Oh.
And on that
They
note,
haul me off. They haul me off to jail.
oh man. All right. Well, anyway,
Thank you so much.
we've had a blast, and have fun with your upcoming shows, your upcoming guests. Be safe. Have a wonderful holiday season, and we definitely will need to do this again sometime.
Okay, thanks.
Made my heart so full. It's so good to see you.
Yeah.
Take care. Good night,
Thanks,
everybody.
Cathy, and Nance. I'll see you next week for our Desert Island show.
Okay.
Okay.
Night, night. Night, night.
Night. Take care, you guys. Bye.